This is one of the most unsettling conversations I've heard in a long time. Bret Weinstein just laid out the brutal truth about Trump's decision to strike Iran. He calls it a political mistake, the kind that you'd never expect from a political genius who beat both parties and won twice on an America First platform.
The mistake that Trump has made here is a political mistake. If you picked one realm where I would expect Trump not to make an obvious mistake, it would be the political. I literally think we are dealing with a political genius, right? If nothing else, this person has understood the way he is viewed, the American electorate, such that he could be relied upon not to make a blunder of this scale, especially as his presidency hangs in the balance, which it clearly does.
And he's right. Trump campaigned against forever wars. He attacked the Iraq War when no one else would. That instinct helped make him president. So why is he ignoring it now?
And it leaves me with a very unsettling hypothesis. I don't have high confidence in it, but my concern is that this is evidence that he is not in control. He is not in control as commander-in-chief of his own armed forces, and that he is, in fact, having to rationalize decisions that he would not have made and promised not to make on the campaign trail. And I don't quite know what to do with that. It's a very unsettling thought, but I don't see the win here, and I don't see a win in a short enough time period that this could put him ahead in the midterms.
Bret offers two dark possibilities. Either Trump is no longer fully in control as commander-in-chief, or he's being fed a badly distorted picture by people all around him.
Well, I think that's the least bad outcome from the perspective of the Trump administration. If Republicans get stomped in the midterms, but then somehow recover a workable majority of voters, I think they'll be thrilled. But I think the potential consequences, unless the party is to find a leader who represents its voters, because it's really that simple over time. Are you addressing the concerns of your voters? If so, you probably get elected, and if you're not, you probably won't. I think it's like, Gavin Newsom's going to be president if this continues on its current course. So the question is, what do you need to restore, actually? Leaving aside how do you get out of the war, which I think is very complicated, but how do you restore confidence in the government after the government just admitted they got Americans killed on behalf of another country, which is what they've admitted and what they did?
Both ideas should worry every America First supporter. We didn't elect Trump so neocons or foreign lobbies could pull us into another Middle East disaster that serves everyone except the American people.
Well, I will tell you, I don't think I was naive going into the last election. I have long viewed the duopoly as unbeatable and Trump as capable of a political feat in that realm that others weren't. But in terms of how compromised our governmental structures are by corruption, there was always the question as to whether or not there was enough power left in American elections to actually change our trajectory as a country. And in the aftermath of the attack on Iran, I'm shaken. I don't know. I think the answer I just got is it didn't matter who you voted for. The neocons had moved over to the Democratic Party. I think Iran, we know it was on their agenda for decades. I think an attack on Iran was coming, and I tweeted before this happened, we're going to attack Iran and we're not going to be given a choice about it.
So here you could see Bret is shaken. He says it feels like no matter who you vote for, the neocons always win. He's not wrong. Attacking Iran has been on their agenda for decades.
But I do want to say the hypothesis that the president is not in control is one of two. The alternative hypothesis, as far as I can see it, is that he is being shown a very compelling false rendition of the world that has led him to act in a way that would be politically advantageous and would be in the interests of the nation if what he was seeing was true, but that it isn't. Now, that's also a very unsettling possibility, that he is surrounded by people who are wittingly or not showing him a picture that is unrealistic so that he would, in fact, put our military in harm's way and destabilize Iran, not understanding what the likely consequences were.
Well, I don't think there's any question about that. And the people who are calling to influence him, are unwise but also ignorant and have a track record of bad calls and but possess maximum aggression. So there's no question that his fact picture was totally distorted, and it still is. I mean, the overwhelming majority of Iranian signal information, signal intelligence that we receive has been translated by Israel. So, okay, it's been filtered, and maybe honestly, maybe not, but yeah, he's not seeing the whole picture. Of course, no president does. But he's also, as you just suggested at the outset, which is the most interesting thing, he overrode his own instincts.
He overrode his own best instincts. That's the part that hits the hardest. His political genius told him forever wars are political doom. His own words for years told him the same thing. So why did he ignore them?
He's amazing political instincts. People zig, he zags, he turns out to be right. He attacked the Iraq War when that was totally verboten in the Republican Party in the primaries in 2016, and it turned out to be the most resonant thing. Yes, finally someone's saying it. Only he knew that. Only he understood that. So his instincts are like at the highest level, and he ignored them. So why?
Well, I think we need to know the answer to that question. And I think we Americans have to have a conversation with ourselves about not only how broken our system is and what it is resulting in us doing, but how does it actually work? What is it that is actually driving us to do what we do? And, we can see parts of it. We can see lobbying, for example. It's the loophole in our system where the system is pay for play. That is used day in and day out by corporations to get us to do things that are bad for our health, bad for our long-term financial well-being, bad in every regard.
Something deeper is broken in our system. Pay-for-play lobbying, foreign influence, and filtered intelligence keep pushing policy away from what actual Americans want.
But obviously, our adversaries abroad will have noticed that we have a pay-for-play system, and if they aren't taking advantage of it, that would be surprising. I would like to know why they would have missed the opportunity, so presumably they are. And that also applies to our allies, unfortunately. That is to say, anytime somebody has an interest that is in conflict with the interests that we Americans actually have, they are in a position to nudge us in their direction, and we are undoubtedly being nudged. On the other hand, I don't think that can be the sum total of it. And I will tell you, I don't like saying any of this. I don't want to be doing this. But
tell me about it.
The reason that the Epstein phenomenon, whatever it was, is so important is that it suggests a hidden power structure that was there for leverage. It is unfortunate that in the edit that we have been shown, we don't have conclusive evidence of who, what they were after, or even how the leverage worked. All we can see is strong evidence that there was something. Logically, it is implied that it was connected to intelligence services, ours, likely Israel's, who knows who else. But the When you see your government, your president, functioning in ways that do not add up, it's like watching a planet behave oddly because of the gravity of some object you haven't found yet, right? There's the implication that there's something with power in this system that is undeclared. As far as we know, it's unnamed. And the central question is, what is it? How does it work? And how much effect is it having on what we do?
The Epstein reference lands hard. It points to hidden leverage, possibly tied to intelligence services, either here or abroad. Presidents zig and the system zags, and then somehow we always end up bleeding in the Middle East while our own borders stay wide open and our own people struggle.
And I tried in my own way to raise this issue publicly. I believe we are in the midst not only of a constitutional crisis, which arguably has been ongoing since 2001, maybe much longer, maybe 1963.
Around November 22nd, in that range? Of 1963?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the question: was that a lone gun nut or was that a coup? And if it was a coup, did the thing that took power ever relinquish it? I don't know the answer to that question.
I'll just put it this way: if the U.S. government ever goes bankrupt, and disability payments stop, Social Security payments stop, all payments stop, medical research, the CIA will still be well funded.
Trump overrode his best instincts here. That's the part that should worry every MAGA voter. The system is broken. The neocons never went away. And America First means that we need to keep demanding that our leaders put this country, not any other, first. This war already looks like a strategic and political mistake. The longer it drags on, the more American blood and treasure it will cost, with no clear win for the United States. Trump still has time to correct course. He needs to restrain these endless escalations and deliver the peace that this deal he's proposed has promised. But if he doesn't, the voters who put him in there will remember. If this conversation hit you the same way, hit the like button, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, do you think Trump is still in full control, or is the machine running him? Let's talk about it. In the next story, I'm going to go over how the Democrats have completely melted down and their whole TSA strategy just backfired, like fabulously. You're going to love it. It's fantastic, and it's going to give you a really good piece of the puzzle as we go into midterms. That story is coming up next, right here.